Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sincere here with whoissincere.com, the All Rights Matter show, and soon to be so much more. I just want to talk real briefly here. Just got in from work, long ass day, long day. If you don't like vulgar language, you're probably not going to like this video, so I would advise you to go ahead and turn it off now. Because I'm going to say what I'm going to say. So, I tried not commenting really on the Cosby thing too much because it's just I didn't think it was worth commenting on, just to be honest with you. Um, Plus, I don't feel like dealing with all the people who think I'm going to be just 100% in Cosby's corner. But I am going to give my honest take on Bill Cosby and how the media portrays it and how I basically see it. So, Bill Cosby supposedly raped, I'm watching NBC now, Inside Edition, raped 33 women. 33, the magic number 33. Okay, the number that our elite rulers like to use all the time. If you want to find out where their fingerprints are in any situation, just look for the number 33. There's a couple other numbers, but 33 is a popular choice for them. So Bill Cosby raped 33 people, 33 women. Um, First of all, let's start here. So if I'm going to believe this story just based off of the evidence, off of empirical evidence alone, I have to start back in 2004. That's where our latest case is at, in 2004. Um, Prior to that, it's in the 90s. Prior to that, it's in the 80s. Um, Now, listen, did some of these happen? They could have. I don't know. I'm not in Bill Cosby's shoes. I'm not in his brain. I'm not in his mind. I haven't been in his dressing room. I don't know what the man has done. I have no idea. What I do know is that he did admit uh, giving girls lewds back in the day, and those quaaludes for you people that are too young to know what that is. Um, and quaaludes are just like your ecstasy pills and all that stuff now, but just a lot stronger. Um, it was a drug of choice back in the day. It wasn't a drug. It eventually, became known as kind of like a date rape kind of drug. You slip a quaalude in a woman's drink. But there were people taking quaaludes back in the day before all of that were just taking quaaludes just to take them because it was a drug of choice. So I know in a previous deposition from a while ago, he admitted to that. Now, at the end of the day, do I think Cosby is guilty of something? Yeah, no, there's something going on there. But 33 women that he supposedly raped, and it's over and over and over again. They keep saying it. I don't think he did it. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't think he raped 33 women. I think that a great, vast majority of these women are incredible liars, and they're not even credible. They're terrible liars, just to be honest with you. But um, they're just incredibly lying about this situation. So here's one of the telltale signs. If you just go by the numbers alone, what is the probability of 33 women getting raped and not ever coming forward and saying anything about it? What's the probability of that? 33 current accusers that he has right now, and 33 women not coming forward and saying anything. Now, this is different stages through his life, before he was famous and while he was famous. So you can't really use the argument, well, he's big and powerful and no one would have believed those girls. And you can't use that argument. Some of this stuff is before he even made it, with women that he had been with before he made it, whereas he was coming up the ladder, as they say. So, what would make the media think that a person thinking logically would believe that Bill Cosby raped 33 women and none of them came forward until within this last year or two? 30 something years for some of them. With it, like I said, the one most current one was 2004, so that's even 13 years. So, so what I'm saying pretty much is this: there's no evidence of any of these women being raped. There's definitely no physical evidence. Um, these women are sitting in court telling a bunch of stories, pretty much stories of what they can remember, piecing together what they can remember from that time. Because remember, for crimes to happen, you need to have, uh, people, places, things. You have to have situations. You have to build the situation and give that to the investigative team so they can investigate and see what was going on. Was a crime committed here? You have none of that. You don't have police reports to go off of. You don't have the women going to the hospital getting, a rape kit done. You don't have any of that. Rape kits really, I don't know how long they've been around, but I don't know if they existed in the 80s. I'm not sure about that one. But either way, even, just the evidence of going to the hospital or going to the police department to say I was raped the following morning. You mean to tell me over 30 women woke up, realized what happened to them, and none of them acted irrationally and went to the police department to say, hey, I think something wrong happened. I think I was raped. No one? Based on the evidence alone of those numbers, over 30 women, for that to have happened, over 30 women, to not come forward at all, none of them, out of these 30 women we're talking about, the odds of that are just, they're staggering. It's staggering. Um, Especially when they know who he is. And especially some of them, I would give even more so the women that before he became famous. As a woman, how could you have seen this man become famous and you didn't press your allegations 20 years ago? Now, a lot of you people will watch this and say, well, why are you blaming the victim? Why aren't you blaming Mr. Cosby? Because I don't need to blame Mr. Cosby. The mainstream media is doing a great enough job of doing that. What I want to do is take it to the next level. So here's the next level. There's Donald Trump's ex-wife, and there's a woman by the name of Jill Harth. I want you to research these two. So during the election season, it came out, Donald Trump's ex-wife, what was her name? Ivanka, something, whatever it was. I think it's Ivanka is his daughter. I think her name was Ivana. But whatever it was, his ex-wife filed, a lawsuit against him for rape. His ex-wife. And she went into page by page detail of how the situation happened. And pretty much it was a brutal, violent assault. And then she was raped. So his wife filed that. Very shortly afterward, she took it back. She dropped the lawsuit. She doesn't speak on it. It was obviously settled out of court. Now, what we know about lawsuits is this. You are not allowed to file a false lawsuit. If you do, you can go to jail for that. It's a crime. So either Donald Trump's ex-wife is completely lying in that lawsuit, or it really happened and there was some kind of agreement, settlement that happened between her and Trump where she dropped it and said, okay, I'm not going to go forward with this. Those are your two options. Okay, there is no other option there. So either she's going to jail or either, this situation with Donald Trump really happened. Second one, Jill Harth. Jill Harth and her husband used to work with Donald Trump back in the day when he had when he was doing the modeling thing and all that stuff. So Jill Harth and her husband, I believe, had a modeling agency or something like that, but they were working with him, doing business with him. Well, he invited Jill Harth over and he tried to sexually assault her, put her in a room and tried to, do some things to her. She wasn't having it. She filed a lawsuit against him. Her husband also filed a separate business lawsuit against him. And what Donald Trump did is he settled out her husband's business lawsuit, but as a stipulation to her law, as a stipulation of settling out his lawsuit, there was something in there that had her drop her lawsuit. Okay, So her and her husband got a lawsuit off of Donald Trump, but they had to drop the sexual part of the lawsuit. And so she did. Um, those are two women that have gone after the president of the United States, who wasn't president then, but have gone after the president of the United States um, through a court of law. It's been settled out outside of a court of law. Um, and there was never any kind of criminal charges really filed or brought against him. You know, he never did any jail time for this. And there's other allegations that are out there as well, even child allegations. Um, so what is amazing to me is this. Now follow me. Donald Trump sexually assaults. The accusers come forward. They file the lawsuit. He settles them out of court. One is ex-wife, one a business partner. That's just two cases I'm talking about. But yet you want me to believe that Bill Cosby had 33 accusers that didn't come forward, didn't file a lawsuit, didn't even seek a settlement, nothing. They didn't have any monetary concerns. They didn't have any concerns, about anything else of whether he might do this to another woman and maybe we should stop this monster. So they didn't even think about other women. I don't know what they were thinking about in terms of self-preservation for them not to say anything. You know, I know there's a small percentage of women out there that do get raped and they don't say anything. And I'm sure it's not even a small percentage. I'm sure it's a pretty decent sized percentage, especially if it's I know a lot of rapes occur from people you know. So especially if it's a family member or a close friend or something like that, then I guarantee you there's years that go by and people don't say anything that they were physically raped. But this is different. Bill Cosby wasn't close friends with many of these women. There was no ties in the business world that they would be linked to so he can just hold back and destroy their whole career. There is no threats of any, destruction of their livelihood or career. There's no further contact afterwards. I mean, in some cases there are. But to me, you look at Donald Trump's case, they go right after him. He settles them out or settles the matter in some kind of way, whether it's financially or whatever, we don't know, because we don't know the terms of that agreement. But there's an agreement made and it goes away. And then in terms of Bill Cosby, the women wake up the next morning, act like nothing happened for the next 20, 30 years, or over a decade. And then they all pop up at one time and say, yes, I was raped. What is the probability of that? I would love someone to figure that out. Mathematically, literally figure that out. I don't know if it's possible, but what is the probability of that? If we're just using common sense in numbers, just common sense in numbers, what is the probability of 33 women waking up after being raped and saying, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be quiet. I'm not even going to get angry and cause a scene. What's the possibility of 33 women all coming forward damn near at the same time? What's the possibility of all this happening after Bill Cosby tried to buy NBC? What's the possibility of NBC leading the smear campaign against Bill Cosby? What's the probability of that happening after he tried to buy their company? He would have been the only black man to own a major network in this country. So they blocked him from buying the station. They smeared him with 33 women. They took all of his shows, meaning his revenue, off of television. He's banned from TV pretty much. And now they're trying to put him in prison for a woman that's come forward and said, I was raped in 2004, that has no evidence, no physical evidence, nothing tangible. And even after 13 years, you have to wonder about witnesses, the memory of folks. Um, there's a reason why these things have to be done swiftly, because scenery changes, people's lives change, people's memories change. That's a big thing. People's memories change. Um, it's a reason why you do these things swiftly. So to me, it's quite interesting that all of these women decided to come together and come against Cosby basically at one time, and that he has been systematically over the course of the last couple of years destroyed as a person, as a brand. And I think it's because he decided to speak up and buck up against the racist system. He's clear about how he feels about racism and about how he feels about Black Power, pretty much. Very clear about that. He's all about empowerment. So, as an empowering figure who is, you know, extremely rich from all the shows and being the number one program for so long, extremely popular, extremely rich. If he would have owned NBC, which he could have easily done, if he would have owned NBC, it would have changed the game. But yet, shortly after his failed attempt at trying to purchase NBC, um, the next thing you know, he lost everything he's had. Everything. It doesn't even matter if it's true. It just matters what the media keeps telling you. And if the media says it over and over, shit, if you know anything about fucking marketing, then it's really easy to understand. If you expose somebody to something 7 or 8 times, eventually it starts to become truth. They're using marketing tactics to the media to create a truth in a smear campaign where there's literally maybe little to no truth. When I say little, I'm just saying, I don't know if he raped these women. I don't know. You don't know either. You who are listening to this. So keep all your shitty comments to yourself about, he raped these women and that's it. I know it happened. No, you don't. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what happened. You have no idea what happened. Just like I have no idea what happened. I'm giving you the narrative that the media is giving us, and I'm breaking it down part by part, and I'm saying that it does not make fucking sense. If you have 2 brain cells in your head, those numbers don't add up right. We got a president of the United States who has clearly settled out and made agreements with women who have brought accusations against him. We don't question it. The media does not talk about it. It is a banned topic. Okay? When we know that this man has been pretty much a violent rapist, our president of the United States. But yet you got Bill Cosby, who none of his accusers came forward. These 33 women came forward right away and tried to get him, if you will. So I think maybe Bill has paid out a settlement in the past. I'm not sure. Probably has, because I think there has been a couple allegations against him in the past. I don't know. Again, I'm not gonna. This is not a video to vouch for Bill Cosby. I don't know that man, and I can't speak for him. But what I can speak against is the narrative that the media is putting out. You know, this is a purposeful narrative to destroy pretty much what we would consider a black legend. Now, people will say, "Oh, well, you're just salty about it." I'll tell you why I'm not. Why? Okay, I'll tell you why I'm salty about it a little bit. I'm salty about it because in Hollywood, let's not bullshit ourselves. In Hollywood, there are plenty of parties that go on that are sex parties. We're talking with underage kids, all kinds of crazy satanic shit. All right, this is what they do. This is what they do. Now, I'm not the most religious person in the world, but at the same time, I do believe in God. I am a spiritual person, very spiritual person. I believe in Jesus. Now, we can have our debate about Jesus and what color he was and about the man-made Bible and the validity of that Bible. But One thing you won't ever convince me to do is to believe that God isn't real. You know, you don't create all these systems and patterns that intertwine and work together in a symbiotic nature unless there's a supernatural force involved in the discussion. No explosion came and created this symbiotic nature that we see around us. Everything that we see that works in accordance with everything else. Okay? It would be the most perfect accident to ever happen. That didn't happen though. They made that up. It's just a theory. To be honest with you, there's no truth to it. It is literally a theory. Um, so I'm going off topic. What I want to say is this: if you support Cosby, great, wonderful, wonderful. If you don't support him, that's wonderful too. Great. Really doesn't matter. You need to take your ass to work and just get your paycheck and worry about yourself anyway. But if we had to have a conversation about this, I would tell you just to go by the numbers. Look at the numbers and see if they make sense to you and see what the probability of some of these situations happening is. If the probability doesn't work out, and this is with any media topic, if the probability doesn't work out, you're probably being fed some bullshit. Be wary of that. It's happening all over. That's the whole, this whole new advent of fake news. That's what it's all about. So, NBC, one of the great purveyors of fake news, um, and they have so much of it. It's just hard to keep up with anymore. So it's comical watching some of their skits. That's what I call them. They're not news shows, they're skits. But it's comical watching some of their skits and watching these high-paid news anchors read off of cue cards all day with their high-priced makeup on. If you'd like to believe the narrative of the media, more power to you. God bless you. But I would implore you to not take things at face value, to sit down and think. Have a good little thinking session and think to yourself, what is the probability? What is the probability of the issue? That's all you have to do. And then look at the surrounding factors. So I think there's a probability that Cosby may have done something to someone at some time. What it is, I don't know. But if you're going to ask me if Bill Cosby raped 33 women and then none of them came forward and all of this is coming up now while he's old and decrepit, man, get the fuck out of here. Stop. If you can't see a smear campaign for what a smear campaign is, then you are completely lost, and the media has completely done a wonderful job in making you become their bitch. Stop playing yourself. Stop playing yourself. Go by the numbers. Look at what is the evidence in front of you, and think to yourself, if you know 33 women in your life that would not come forward if they were raped by someone while they were famous or before they were famous, or even climbing the ladder to fame. It's simple, guys. It's simple. So that is my whole spiel on this situation. That's how I really feel about the Cosby situation. I don't need anybody asking me again how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it. So we'll see, how this all pans out. Is Cosby going to go to jail? I think so. I think they're going to find him guilty in some kind of way, and I think they're going to sentence that old man to jail. That's not my decision though. My job is just to tell you what I think about things. So if you think like I think, God bless you. If you don't, God bless you. And as the channel I love so much, Richie from Boston, that's a cool dude. As he says, like, share, subscribe, or don't. Doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm out.